My wife texted me early in the evening, "Helping mom, back tomorrow." I didn't question it at first. It sounded normal, routine, almost comforting. Family had always been her safest excuse, the one I never challenged. Still, something about the timing felt off. No heart emoji, no explanation, just a statement. I read it twice, then set my phone down and went on with my night. I told myself I was overthinking again. Yet the house felt unusually quiet, like it was holding its breath. I tried to sleep but couldn't. Thoughts kept circling, connecting dots I didn't want to connect. I reminded myself that trust is what keeps a marriage alive. Doubt, on the other hand, poisons it slowly. By morning, I had convinced myself everything was fine, or at least I wanted to believe it was. When I woke up, the smell of breakfast filled the air. Not just coffee or toast, but a full meal. I walked into the kitchen and froze for a second. Her mom stood at the stove, humming softly, flipping eggs like she'd been there all along. She smiled warmly when she saw me and said good morning, as if nothing was unusual. My confusion grew instantly. If my wife had been helping her mom all night, why was her mom here instead? I didn't say anything. I sat down quietly, my thoughts racing faster with every second. Plates were set, coffee poured, casual conversation attempted. I nodded along, but inside something heavy settled in my chest. The story didn't match the scene. I didn't confront anyone. I waited. Sometimes the truth doesn't need to be forced. Sometimes it walks in on its own. An hour later, the front door opened. I heard familiar footsteps, then her voice calling out casually, pretending everything was normal. She walked into the kitchen and stopped dead. Her smile faded the moment she saw her mother standing there. The air shifted instantly. Her mom looked confused, glancing between us. My wife tried to speak, then stopped. I slowly stood up, keeping my tone calm, my expression almost friendly. I smiled and said, "Hey, Mom. Your daughter's back from her date." The room froze. No one moved. No one breathed. Her mom's face drained of color as understanding set in. My wife's eyes widened, panic replacing confidence. In that silence, years of lies, excuses, and half-truths collided. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't accuse. I didn't need to. One sentence had done more than arguments ever could. Her mom slowly set the spatula down, her hands trembling slightly. She asked what I meant, her voice quiet, but sharp. My wife tried to interrupt, laughing nervously, saying I was joking. I didn't laugh. I calmly explained that her daughter hadn't been with her the night before. No insults, no exaggeration, just facts. Each word landed heavier than the last. Her mom looked at her, waiting for denial, for correction. None came. Silence answered instead. The disappointment on her mom's face was painful to watch, but necessary. My wife finally spoke, trying to justify, minimize, redirect blame. It didn't work. Lies collapse when witnesses are present. I remained calm throughout, not because I wasn't hurt, but because clarity had replaced emotion. This wasn't a fight anymore. It was exposure. And exposure changes everything. Breakfast sat untouched as reality settled in. Her mom asked one final question, simple and devastating. "Is this true?" My wife couldn't answer. She looked at the floor, then at me, then away again. That was enough. Her mom didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just nodded slowly, like someone accepting a truth they never wanted to learn. She apologized to me quietly, which hurt more than anger would have. I told her she had nothing to apologize for. The situation wasn't hers to fix. My wife tried again to explain herself, saying it meant nothing. That it was a mistake. I stood up and said I wasn't interested in explanations anymore. Trust doesn't vanish all at once. It fades slowly until one moment makes it impossible to deny. That moment had arrived, and there was no going back from it. Later that day, after her mom left, the house felt emptier than ever. My wife followed me from room to room, talking nonstop, afraid of the silence. She promised change, honesty, effort. I listened, but I didn't engage. Promises sound different once the truth is exposed. I told her calmly that I needed space, not arguments. I packed a small bag and prepared to leave. She asked where I was going, when I'd be back. I said I didn't know, and I meant it. Leaving wasn't punishment. It was self-preservation. I had spent too long ignoring my instincts to keep the peace. That peace had been built on lies. As I closed the door behind me, I felt pain, yes, but also relief. Relief that I no longer had to pretend. In the days that followed, messages poured in. Apologies, excuses, regrets. I took time before responding. I needed space to think clearly without emotional pressure. I realized how often I had accepted half-truths because full honesty was inconvenient. That realization changed how I saw everything. Betrayal didn't just break trust, it rewrote history. I focused on myself, on routines, on people who respected me. The image of that frozen kitchen replayed in my mind, not as trauma, but as clarity. It reminded me that truth eventually surfaces, no matter how carefully it's hidden. I wasn't angry anymore. I was resolved. Walking away didn't make me weak. It made me honest. And honesty, once chosen, reshapes your entire life. Looking back, that simple text, "Helping Mom back tomorrow," changed everything. It wasn't the lie that ended the marriage. It was the moment the lie collapsed under its own weight. When her mom stood in my kitchen and the truth walked in moments later, there was nowhere left to hide. I didn't need evidence, screenshots, or shouting. One calm sentence froze the room and exposed reality. Lesson: when honesty disappears, clarity eventually replaces it, often at the worst possible moment. Trust your instincts. Silence doesn't protect lies forever. Walking away that day wasn't the end of my life. It was the beginning of living without doubt, excuses, or denial. Sometimes the truth doesn't arrive loudly. Sometimes it shows up quietly, makes breakfast, and waits for the door to open.